So, One Piece. Wait, what the heck did I just watch? And this is just amazing and it blew my mind. And this is my review of One Piece, the magnum opus by Eichiro Oda. But I won't be reviewing the entire series yet because I am still in the process of watching. In fact, I will be reviewing the first ever saga, the East Blue Saga of One Piece, which ran from episodes 1 to episodes 61. I know it seems a lot, but this has so much things to do with it and it does incredibly well, which I'll be talking about later in this video. But I want to tell you that you need to subscribe to this channel to never miss out on videos like this. So why didn't I watch it way before? So this is the first question that everyone has. I mean, I am an anime watcher. I've seen the likes of My Hero Academia, Naruto, and Dragon Ball, and I love them all. But I never started watching One Piece for some dumb reason. And the reason is its art style. I mean, literally, everyone is gonna go into the comments and saying you are a One Piece hater. Well, at first, I didn't even want to watch it because of its ridiculous art style. But going on, I'm starting to appreciate this art style on what Eiichiro Oda is trying to capture. It is wacky and it's great in every kind of demeanor to look at it. I mean, I'm really loving everything that they're showing now. The story is amazing, and let's talk about what I love. What I love about this series is that it doesn't hold back. Its art style is, of course, crazy, and that's what makes it better. It actually is fitting for this kind of story that it's telling. The character dynamics between different characters, their interactions, and the Straw Hat members are incredibly cool, and this is what I want from every anime show ever. Naruto is a masterpiece, but it does have its flaws. But that's why I like One Piece because I guess with 1,000 episodes, the characters have time to expand. Normally, I don't have expectations on anime, but One Piece is amazing that I literally have expectations. I mean, the way it ends actually sums up the entire show for me. And yes, the show hasn't ended yet and it's still going on, but I'm really waiting to see if they can hit the mark with this one. What I really loved about the show is the character dynamics, and I want all their character arcs to go splendidly well. So that's how much I'm into this show. I'm already finishing Thriller Bark arc right now when I'm shooting this video because I can't wait and do a review video after doing this. So yes, I'll be covering other arcs in my channel. Yes, absolutely I will. The One Piece world is the house for many major characters, and the East Blue Saga has thousands of such characters. So, of course, I can't talk about every one of them, but all I can do is talk about the first five Straw Hats and tell a bit about what I think about them. Luffy is one of the most interesting main characters of all time, and also the most lovable and most likable. There are many main characters that not everyone likes, like take Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach. I don't really like him that much. And even Goku, I don't really like him that much. I do love Naruto, and this is what I really like from Luffy. Luffy's too likable. He is amazing as a main protagonist, and everybody can root for him. That's the kind of character or the vibe that I get from him, and I understand why there's a huge fan base for a character such as this. And I have to say, man, each and every time in most of the anime, the hero is really weak and he builds up to become stronger. It's the same case with One Piece, with Luffy, but the point is, Luffy is already too strong, actually. He's really strong, and that's what I like about it, and he shows it in this saga. Zoro is such an interesting side character or the secondary protagonist. Well, typically in anime, the secondary protagonist is some kind of villain at some point in time, like Sasuke or even Bleach's own Ishida Uryu, and even others like Vegeta. So these secondary characters are always the villain sometime and they go against the hero. But Zoro is too different that he is extremely loyal to Luffy. Even though Luffy is way younger than him and Luffy is just an idiot, Zoro is the one with common sense, but he always obeys Luffy. He takes his command, he acts as his subordinate, and he's the right hand man. And that's what I like about his character. Also, his sword fighting skills are top notch, and it's always weird to see him use three swords. Nami was an interesting choice to be added to the team. At first, she was just Sakura in my head, the one who has no use actually in the team. But guess what? This is what Eichiro Oda does better than Masashi Kishimoto. That is, this female character is the one that keeps the team together. She is the one who orders Luffy and Zoro around, even though they both are immensely powerful and way better than them. At first, she was just a thief who just got on the ship, and there was no actual backstory for me to like her. But then, after watching Arlong Park, man, this character has gone through so many things, and I understand every choice that she made. So, after she gets loyalty from Luffy, this is amazing. The way Luffy helps her and way her story arc ends, and her joining as an official member was so heartwarming and heartfelt. So Usopp is another interesting character that every One Piece starter says that they don't like Usopp. They don't want to be that they don't want even him to be in the Straw Hat Pirates. And I can agree because all of them are incredibly powerful and amazing and Usopp's just their weak. But guess what? He's the character that we can mostly connect with. He's the most human out of everyone. Yes, he's cowardly, but he always stands up to what he's fighting for. And since I've been up to the Thriller Bark saga, this character is going to be amazing, guys. He has no superpowers. He's not such a great thing, except his aim is incredibly powerful. And this character growth that he sees, the times that he shows courage, it's amazing and it's beautifully crafted by the author. So I am really excited for you guys to see him in the next saga, and this saga, it was amazing too. And not to mention, Usopp has the best fight scenes in all of One Piece. I don't really like characters like Roshi, but Sanji pulls that off in such a cool way. So this guy who is into women too much and he always is like a chain smoker, he's also a cook and he can kick really hard. This is the worst combination that anyone can come up with, but it totally works. His saga was one of the most emotional ones, his backstory the most tragic, and the character dynamic between him and Zoro are amazing. The interaction between him and Luffy and him also becoming his left hand man is amazing. The entire story focuses on him too without us knowing it. And I really don't like how it was treated, just like his character arc was just leading into Nami's character arc. I don't really like that, but it's fine. So, the first arc of the entire series, the Romance Dawn arc, is arguably one of the best series ever. The series of events that happens here only involves two of our main characters, that is Luffy and Roronoa Zoro. You can even add Kobe to an extent because Kobe isn't really that important as of right now, as I'm still watching the series. I'm still in Thriller Bark, I'm stuck there. So I really want to know how what happens in the future, but this is an incredible introduction arc. First, we're introduced to Luffy and his Devil Fruit powers, about his relationship with Shanks, and his dream. So, everything is told about what our goal is, how we are going to follow our main hero, and also sets the tone for the series. It's incredibly light-hearted and it's humorous, but it also has serious moments. We also meet Kobe, who happens to accompany him on his incredible journey for some time. There, he also meets Roronoa Zoro, the most famous pirate hunter and the greatest swordsman ever to live, and he uses a three-style swords to fight his enemies. Still find it out that Zoro actually agreed to become a pirate with him just because Luffy saved him for a moment. Then, after realizing the kind of character that Zoro is, I'm really happy that he did join. He's extremely loyal to Luffy, and how the story goes on forward is amazing. His three sword fighting style is one of the most amusing things that I've seen. I thought it was cringe, but even now it sounds so cool to me that he holds a sword in his mouth. The villain of this particular arc is forgettable. I mean, I still don't remember what his name was. I am lazy enough to not go back and inquire about him again. But he was a forgettable villain, and I guess it also showed how powerful Luffy was already in the beginning. This arc gets a 7 on 10. So this arc was interesting in its own right because of Nami. So Nami was introduced in this arc, and it's particularly weird to see her helping out the Straw Hats knowing what she's actually doing. She is the one who reluctantly agrees to become one of their members, even though Luffy was literally forcing her to do it, but she does it because she can literally fool them around and take their treasure. She was such an interesting character to have joined the crew, but she looked plain outright until the Arlong Park arc. So I don't know what happened in this arc except Nami's introduction. But we also did have one of the most coolest villains, Buggy the Clown, who happens to be a prominent member going on with the story. He is literally one of the four Yonkos in the future, right? So that's like, oh my god. I was spoiled, and I'm gonna spoil that too. So this is amazing. He is one of the best devil fruit users I've ever seen. His body can literally split. That's an amazing thing. And Luffy being the enemy, the fight scenes were epic, and I really liked Zoro actually helping out with Luffy and together fighting. And Nami also caught in the fray. This was an amazing introduction to heroes' powers. This arc gets an 8 on 10. The Syrup Village arc was by far the most interesting arc and also the most confusing one for me. We are introduced to Usopp in this arc, and Usopp is actually there to kind of do nothing. I still didn't understand how he was actually let to join the crew, didn't know what his specialities were or what he was going to do with the team. We are also introduced to the ship for the first time, the Going Merry, which has an emotional value to me because of whatever happened in Water 7. So we are also introduced to Kaya-san, who happens to be kind of Usopp's love interest, sometimes, I guess. And the villains were incredibly powerful, and I really had to look at how the Straw Hats kind of, defeated them. Luffy, Zoro, and Nami were there. Somehow, Nami helping them looked really weird. Villains, as I said, were incredibly terrifying and also powerful. This entire crew of monsters attacking this place was kind of different for me, and Usopp kind of showing bravery at times kind of made me like that character. He's the only one that actual people can connect with because he's just a mere human, and him standing up to it no matter the cost is amazing. This arc gets a 9 on 10. Remember when I said Ichiro Oda is really good at making stories intensifying the moment passes? So this story keeps getting better and better. So Baratie was a perfect example for this because this was the best arc I've ever seen from One Piece if we compare it to everything that came before. And that's what makes this interesting. We are introduced to this cook called Sanji, who happens to be the next Straw Hat crew member that Luffy is aiming for. There were so many hilarious moments, and also showing how dangerous the sea can be with different kind of villains such as Don Krieg appearing, and also Dracul Mihawk, one of the Shichibukai, the seven warlords of the sea, is here, and he is also fighting Roronoa Zoro. Roronoa falls down and tells him that he will never lose ever again. It was such a sick moment, and I was literally happy. And Sanji's backstory was one of the most tragic stories I've ever heard. He had to eat something that you guys already know. So he is looking for the all blue. That is such an interesting characterization. We've never seen something like that in action manga or shonen manga like that. But this was such an interesting thing. Him joining the team was amazing, and his philosophies such as not using his hands to fight, only his legs. He's called the Blackfoot Sanji, something like that. This was amazing. The characterization was amazing. The villains I thought were weak, but this was amazing. And the cliffhanger where Nami steals the boat was amazing too. This arc gets a 9 on 10. So, as I did state, this story keeps getting better and better, and Arlong Park literally follows the same formula. So, this is by far the most interesting story arc I've ever seen in a really long time, and Arlong is indeed the best villain that I have seen from the first part of the East Blue Saga. So, this is amazing. Arlong was just freakish, and Nami's backstory was also tragic. What's up with Luffy just taking tragic backstory characters, except Usopp, I guess. So everyone else had really tragic backstories, and Nami's is no different. The way that Nami acts, the way that Nami is gathering money to free her villagers from Arlong's ruthless conquering, I guess, something like that. He's not even one of the Shichibukais, but he is there, and this is actually terrifying. So these guys come in here, the Straw Hats, and they have no whatever. They have nothing to do with anything. They just want to take Nami back. That's all. I mean, they don't even know what's happening. Luffy even ignores. He just straight up ignores the backstory that Nami's sister is trying to tell them, and he just walks away. He doesn't even care. He just wants to take Nami back. That's all. She's his navigator, their crew's navigator, and they're all here. I also like the fact that Sanji is literally in the fray, and he easily becomes one of their coolest members ever. That was amazing too. Also, not to mention, this arc has my most favorite moment I'll talk about in a minute. Arc gets an absolute 10 on 10. This was my least favorite arc of the first part of series or the East Blue Saga. But even though as much as I would have loved to see the pace intensifying even more, I'm happy that Oda did this. It was kind of like an epilogue. It's not something such as a grand ending. It was an epilogue to the next huge saga that was coming, that was the Arabasta saga. So I think it's good to go on such a little scale. Buggy the Clown returns, and that was amazing return as hell, because Luffy was about to be executed at the same place where Roger was executed, and he just smiles. He smiles, that is wicked. We're also introduced to Smoker and his crew, which happens to be amazing. Zoro gets new swords, and them escaping into the ship, getting ready to enter the Grand Line was an amazing cliffhanger, making us get excited for what's to come in the future. And that was an absolute twist, because there are so many things that's going to happen in Arabasta that I can't wait to talk about right now. But this arc gets a 6 on 10. I even saw the filler arc, the Warship Island arc. I have no idea why I did that, but I just did. It was okayish to me, it was funny, but I'm not going to include this in my video because I'll only be talking about the main continuity or the non-filler parts. So let's keep that in mind. And now we go to our next section, my most awaited section. My most favorite moment of the entire series is Help Me Luffy. I mean, everyone knows what Help Me Luffy stands for, and that's right. Everyone knows that. Every One Piece fan who has completed Arlong Park knows that. And yes, this happened in Arlong Park. So Nami is getting tortured by Arlong, and this is something that I like Ichiro Oda doing. He tortures us with stuff and does not involve the main characters. It's just people becoming victims, and they are suffering so much that when Luffy comes, everyone gets hopeful. I mean, the fans who's watching, because we all know how Luffy is strong. So that's what Arlong Park does. Luffy is like separately there. He's not even involved with the plot. Only Usopp gets to interact a bit with the main plot characters. Nami, on the other hand, is suffering so much that she, after realizing that Arlong was always betraying her, he was never going to free the villagers, she starts stabbing herself with the knife, and Luffy stops her. He doesn't know anything, but somehow he wants to still help her, and she asks his help, crying. Luffy gives her his hat, even though it's his treasure, saying that his friends are his treasure in a symbolic way, and he says of course he will help. And his entire crew is waiting, and the walk to Arlong Park was the most amazing. All four of them, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp somehow, who happens to be brave suddenly, and his fight was the most interesting of all the four fights that happens. But all four of them are walking towards Arlong Park's mansion, who everyone knows Arlong Park thinks that they are really weak and they are really bad at fighting. But Luffy punches the wall and asks who is Arlong. That was the most hyped up moment of all time. So the next question is, will I cover more One Piece? Well, it actually depends on you. I mean, I have to see how many subscribers and views and likes that I get on this video. Because making this video takes a lot of effort and I'm really lazy, as I told, because I have a lot of college work. So doing these videos to entertain you is what I'm trying, and the future of this channel might be in your hands. Well, I do my daily reviews or news in my channel in the form of shorts, but I am thinking of doing long-term long videos such as Plot Explained, where I explain a certain arc from some any anime or manga, because I've seen so many anime and I'm reading a lot of manga right now, and I really want to do that on my channel too. Also, going on, if I am continuing with the Arabasta arc, I will be doing arc by arc but not an entire saga like I did with East Blue. I'll probably do a Whiskey Peak arc review or something like that, and because that's what it's easy to me. And even the character section, I will be talking about the villains too, which also will be cool. So yes, in short, it depends on what you tell me to do. And yes, before going out of this video, I want you to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because I'll be covering more daily content like this. Also subscribe to my secondary channel called Siki Studios, where I talk about movies and TV shows from the Hollywood side of things. And yes, I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, sayonara guys, Chan out.